What's going on, everybody? How we doing? John Anthony, Chair Shot Sports, a driver to the top production. Thank you so much for joining us. Tonight, we're going to be going through the AEW All-In card for this upcoming Sunday. Very excited. Great 9 matches, action-packed, a lot of titles on the line, a lot of stories I'm going to be finishing up, and I'm sure a lot of stories I'll be starting as well. Before I get started to any of that, I do want to talk about a contest that we're running over on X/Twitter. If you're not already following us, feel free to do so. We do encourage it. It's over at X. It's at Chairshot Sports. What we're doing is in honor of the AEW All-In pay-per-view. What we're doing is we're giving away a signed Soraya picture. Obviously, yes, it does say Paige on there. Let me get that up in the camera so you guys can see it. We have a picture of it also up on X. If you take a look over here, we have a JSA certified sign. So this is legit, all in the up and up. Very, very easy ways to get entered for that. We're going to be doing the drawing during All In. So if you go over on X, shoot us a follow. All you got to do is follow and like the post. And then in the comments, just go ahead and put down your favorite Soraya moment. It can be from WWE, AEW, wherever else. Also New Japan, I believe she was over there a little bit. So whatever your favorite moment is, you're going to put that down as your favorite and be entered to win. Again, we'll be drawing that winner during All In before the main event of the evening. So with that being said, speaking of All In, let's get into it. And obviously you can't have an AEW pay-per-view without a 0 hour, a buy-in. So starting the 0 hour over here at Wembley this year is going to be a mixed tag. We have Statlander and Stokely against Nightingale and Ishii. This rivalry has done good the past couple weeks. I mean, obviously it's been going ever since Statlander turned on Nightingale. Obviously, the point of this match is to get people going, get the crowd warmed up, get them hot, get them cheering, get them booing, the whole spectrum of emotion before we kick off the actual AEW pay-per-view. The way things go, obviously, like I said, being a kickoff match, being an opener, nothing crazy on Dynamite or on the main card. I really do see Nightingale going over here, probably having a comedic moments where Stokely gets in the ring and Nightingale's there trying to get her hands on him, running around the ring, stuff like that. With Statlander getting involved, things like that. So with that being said, a high energy match. It's gonna have a lot of spots, a lot of cool stuff going on, a lot of fun, a lot of comedic stuff. But definitely have Nightingale walking away with that in the mixed tag match to open. So with that being said, let's jump into the actual full card of All In. So obviously, I'm not going to start with the main event. We'll start down at the bottom in no particular order, and we'll work our way to the tippy top. So with that being said, let's start with the London ladder match. We have House of Black, the Patriarchy, the Bang Bang Gang, and a mystery tag team that has not been announced yet. So I'm going to be honest with you. As in regards of trios, I don't even really know who they might have come out with this as a team here in this pay-per-view for this match. I mean, it could be maybe something to do, maybe some kind of Lucha Libre, maybe Penix. I mean, they've already kind of gone from the company, so that kind of takes care of that. I really can't see a debuting faction or 3 guys debuting coming out. So I don't know how that might end up. But at the end of the day, regardless, the mystery team, whoever they are, I'm sure it'll be good. It'll create a good pop. They're not going to be involved in the decision of all this. I have House of Black going here and grabbing those trio titles. Let me tell you why. Patriarchy, they're great. They don't need the belts. It's good them holding them, but they don't need it. There's a reason why this is a ladder match and that many people involved in the match. Obviously, Christian Cage, very, very well versed with a ladder. Bang Bang Gang, good to see them. They've also held the belts for a long period of time. House of Black has kind of been, for a lack of better word, I guess irrelevant, right? Haven't really seen a lot of them on TV. Hasn't really been doing much. Buddy just re-signed a couple-year deal. Alistair's hanging around. Brody's still chilling. So I think out of the 3 of those, you get them the trio belts, get some gold on them, make them a little more relevant, whether it be on Dynamite, Collision, or on Rampage. Seems like the trio belts are kind of more featured on the Saturday night or on Rampage for the tapings for that show. But yeah, I think it's going to be good. House of Black, some cool stuff going down. Maybe Julia Hart gets involved at some point. That might be cool. That could happen. But I have House of Black winning this and an awesome, awesome banger of a match, especially if this was to open the actual all-in pay-per-view. I think it'd be awesome. The crowd would be very much into it. With these guys, huge spots, a lot of ladders breaking, guys getting thrown off the top of ladders. So that's going to be awesome to see as well. So very excited for that as well. So with that being said, let's jump into another title match for the FTW belt. Jericho taking on Hook. This is going to be a good match, but I really don't see any way, shape, or form how Hook does not walk out of All In the FTW champion. This has been an amazing, amazing rivalry. Jericho's done great having his faction with the Learning Tree. Hi, guys! The guys have helped him hold the belts for a while. I think with Hook, I think with this match, obviously you have the guys on the outside. You got the Oak, you got the Bad Apple. But for Hook, you got a lot of guys in the back that have that'll take up for him. You know, you got Samoa Joe, a lot of other people that might come out and help him out. Chris Jericho doesn't need the belt. Loses this, gives it up to Hook. He comes back stronger, goes into another shell of himself. And that's one thing I'll give to Jericho. Just the reinvention of himself over and over again, and not really giving two shits what the fans and what the media say. I mean, the guy's going up against Please Retire chants on a normal basis at any show he goes to. Literally came out in an interview earlier this week saying, listen, I got a six-pack. I'm in great shape. I love my boss. I love my people I work with. I love the company I work for. I'm not going anywhere. F off, right? You got to love it. Like, Jericho is timeless. The guy's he's probably got a lot more in the tank than we think he does. He's obviously, the wear and tear is obviously taking up on him. You can see his body, but still in good shape for his age, for what he's been through, and still staying relevant, whether it be with the FTW belt or getting to some kind of rivalry with someone else and just keeping his name relevant on AEW television. So very excited to see that. But with that being said, Hook walks away with this, with the FTW belt. We'll jump into one of the higher one of the matches I think will be higher on the card, but I'll talk about it right now. The AEW tag belts. This match is going to be good. The Elite versus the Acclaim taking on FTR. I think this is made triple threat for a reason. I think we've seen enough of the Elite and FTR over and over and over and over and over again since FTR has come into AEW. So the Acclaim being put into it obviously gives it a shot in the arm, gives us some new blood. But I also think, too, with them being added, I think the Acclaim actually sneak this win and walk away. And again, the Elite have held it for a long period of time. They eventually have to lose these belts to kind of upset the apple cart, get upset about things, and kind of start running roughshod backstage as being the EVPs, being the co-owners, and getting upset and doing a lot of stupid shit in the backstage area because they're so upset about losing their belts, right? I think Jackson's always have been better at chasing the belt. They're good champions, don't get me wrong, but they're always better when they're chasing those belts. I think it brings out a little bit more better promos, better wrestling, just a better overall look for the team when they're chasing those belts. But when they have them, they're good too. But I just think seeing them chase the belts is a little better. FTR, listen, no offense to FTR. Again, tried and true, decorated tag team. Have done an amazing job in AEW. Did a great job in WWE. Definitely misused. But I don't think he wants to see FTR as the tag champions, to be perfectly honest with you. And I think people are sick of seeing the Elite as the tag champions. So I think the Acclaim walk away here. And the Acclaimed over the past couple of weeks have done a really great job. And AEW's done a great job of booking these guys. It's not just coming out, doing the MC gimmick, scissor me daddy ass, all that stuff. They've really showed that they have more dimension to them, and another layer in tag team wrestling, and doing a great, great job in the matches that they've been in on Dynamite, on Collision, even on Rampage as well. So I think they're really coming to their own, really coming to a great spot right now, meaning the Acclaimed. I think it was a good time. Shoot, a little bit of adrenaline into the tag team division on AEW, which is very, very rich in great tag teams. But AEW does a good job of focusing on the tag teams and also the trios as well. So definitely finding a good happy medium between the two. But yeah, I have the Acclaim walking away here. I think I think it's good. Obviously, they're going to get a huge pop at Wembley. I think moving forward, a lot more people can be tuning in to see these guys defending those belts, probably again against the Elite and whatever kind of newcomers come through the door. So before we get into the rest of the title matches and the main event, let me talk about the All In Gauntlet match. Now, I had the winner pegged here as soon as they started talking about it, and there was going to be people entering, and there's going to be a field that we're not going to know about, obviously, until that day when we start watching, right? There's people on there, one or two people have entered in, right? But there's a lot of people we don't know who are going to be in this. And obviously, Tony does this a lot. This is where he debuts a lot of people, looks for a lot of surprises as well to run people out there. So before I tell you who I had picked, a couple days ago, it was reported that Ricochet has now signed a multi-year deal with AEW, which is phenomenal for Ricochet. I think he's going to do great in AEW. It's a great new environment for him. A lot of people he hasn't touched before to wrestle. I think he's going to have some great matches with a lot of great people, whether it be the cruiserweights. I feel like that's probably another belt that Tony's going to make at some point. It's like some kind of lightweight belt. I don't know if that's what the Continental's supposed to be or the International, but I think Ricochet's going to get his hands on a lot of good guys in the back, so make for a lot of great matchups. Now, with that being said, I want to take this moment and I want to say something. With Ricochet being signed, my biggest hope and my prayer is that he doesn't get lost in the sauce in another month and a half. These guys come in, they do great, they're big names, and they end up going either to Saturdays on Collision and they're on the Rampage tapings, which is great, but we all know it's taped. We know you do it, before, after your other shows. The one thing I really hope Tony Khan starts looking at, and I really hope with as deep as a roster that he has right now, is whether he gets this new WB deal done, whatever's in the contract, for whatever kind of shows they have agreed on, what he wants to do. Listen, I hope that he takes the blueprint that WWE used way back when he started brand extension with Raw and SmackDown. Now, hear me out. I'm not saying copy WWE or do what WWE is doing. But listen, hear me out. Like when Tony Khan first bought Ring of Honor, and I've said this before on a lot of other shows and a lot of other interviews that I've done, that was the opportunity for Tony to have what WWE has. And what WWE has that's so vital to the continuation of them being so successful with their wrestlers, and their wrestlers coming up with that already like it feel, right? Whether they make it or not, obviously that remains to be seen as they go down the road career-wise, and whether they have the charisma, they get over with the fans, all that stuff. All those tangibles that you can't teach, right? But with Ring of Honor, I was like, listen, Tony literally has his own NXT. You could have taken Ring of Honor, got rid of Rampage, or if you want to keep that like online or, put that on a Sunday night show or something like that. But Ring of Honor could have been your other live show. Keep it Ring of Honor. Obviously, we all know AEW owns it, right? But keep a lot of AEW guys off of there. Put a lot of the roster that you have that you can't get on TV that aren't part of the main storylines, get them in Ring of Honor. Keep those Ring of Honor belts in Ring of Honor. You could have had introductory like tournaments for the World Heavyweight Champion, the tag, the tag champion, open champion, all of that stuff. You could have done all of that, but you just I feel like he bought it for one. I think he bought it so Vince couldn't buy it. Okay, at the time, because it was still Vince running things over at WWE. I think he bought it so Vince couldn't. One, okay, which was stupid. Two, he just wanted the video library, which is great. Okay, so when you have CM Punk and now you have Bryan Danielson, you can show the Ring of Honor stuff. Great, I get the thinking there. I want to be able to have footage when I show vignettes. I do these cute story things like we're doing with the American Dragon. But you had yourself a whole show with belts that you literally brought with you over. It was already made for you. Ring of Honor just needed a place to go, and you were it. And instead of that, you killed it. Tony Khan killed Ring of Honor. If you think I'm wrong, hit me in the comments. Shoot me an email, chairshotsports@gmail.com. We'll talk about it next show. He killed it. And if you say he didn't, you're lying to yourself. I don't care if you can be an AEW fan, but you're lying to yourself. You're not telling me he didn't kill Ring of Honor. But that's a whole other show. I want to talk about the brand extension. You really had a great chance to spread out this talent over 3 shows: Dynamite, Collision, and Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor almost being its whole other company, right? It was right there. It was right there. And now I said this 2 years ago. 2 years ago. You filled the cupboard with all these stars, all these people you want to sign from WWE. You were the next big thing. You had Jericho, you had all these guys, you had Cody Rhodes, you had Omega, the Young Bucks, you had all these new people. Mox came over quick. These people wanted to leave WWE, this toxic company, and come over to AEW, but you filled the cupboard, bro. You filled up, you stocked up too much. You filled the shelves. And we're still here 5 years later where you have talent that you've signed that's amazing talent that is not getting used correctly. And it's unfortunate. It really is. And this isn't downing AEW. So don't come. I've talked about this. I don't down on AEW, but it's a critique that's very valid. And there's a lot of facts to back it up. You could have had a brand extension, which they tried. I get it with CM Punk because it was just take his ball and go to Saturdays because he didn't want to play in the same sandbox as the EVPs and other people. I get that. But Punk started making the new, like the X belt, putting the X on the belt and everything, and probably was going to make a new championship and all that other stuff. But you were right there, and then you squashed it once Punk left. You should have kept it rolling. And I'm hoping sometime in 2025, after Revolution, they have a draft, and they bring back Ring of Honor, and Collision's its own show, and Dynamite's its own show. But make sure you keep the roster separate. Don't do that wild card shit VKM was doing back in the day. Oh, I'm going to bring 3 guys in just for the hell of it. No, don't do that. No. Keep everyone on their own show. WWE's doing it right now. Raw's Raw, SmackDown. Listen to Randy Orton because it makes sense to bring him over there. Right? So, with that being said, I'll get off my soapbox, but that's my hope. With Ricochet coming in, and I'm sure there's a couple other people that want to go to AEW from WWE, right? And vice versa. I'm sure there's AEW talent that's going to pop up in WWE at some point. They already have. They've come back home, right? So it's good for business. It's good for AEW to have almost like three different rosters for when you sign somebody. Okay, let's plug you here. Let's plug you in here. And it makes more sense, and it's more value for the wrestler that you're signing. That's all I'm saying. If you're signing a wrestler for X amount of money, get all the juice out of the squeeze that you can. Right? So, with that being said, I digress. Back to the All-In Gauntlet match. I think Ricochet is going to make his debut here. Probably one of the last competitors. As far as my winner, one man that makes sense for a guaranteed world title shot whenever he wants. This is almost like Tony Khan's version of Money in the Bank, which I like. Adam Hangman Page. I called him to win the Owen Hart tournament. He came up a little short, but with that being said, he loses that to win this, walking around with that title shot whenever he wants it, a la Money in the Bank. Obviously not a whenever kind of thing, but whenever, not a wherever, I apologize, but a whenever kind of thing he can have. Do they stretch it out to Revolution? I don't know. That's a hell of a main event. It's a hell of a main event. Swerving Hangman again for that title. Ooh, boy, let me tell you. And I'm going to talk about something at the end when we get to the main event that might make it make it that much more sense for Hangman to be facing Swerve down the road, whether it be Revolution, Full Gear, or a little bit before we get to April. But with that being said, so Hangman Page I have winning the gauntlet match. So moving on, let's start talking about our mid-card titles here for the men and the women. We have the TNT title. Jack Perry taking on Darby Allin. When this first got marked down and made official, and the vignettes were coming out for it, and the graphic popped up, I thought, man, here we go. Darby Allin's going to get his revenge. He had tied up on the cage, but to light him on fire unless he had his shot. Loved it. Was all for it. Darby, lock, stock, and barrel all day walking out of Wembley. Then I started watching a couple other things. Happy. You haven't seen already. See what Jack Perry does to the TNT title. The man took the faceplate, melted it down, made it pure silver, spray painted the whole thing black, etched it up, threw some red paint on it, which was awesome. Now you have the scapegoat belt. It just debuted like 2 weeks ago. You can't get rid of that belt that quickly. You kidding me? I really wish, and Tony, if you're hearing this, anyone in AEW that sees this, man, can you guys start selling some replicas of your belts? Like, I get it. This belt is like $1,300. This is not an official AEW belt. As you can see, I've spent a lot of money on other belts from the WWE promotion. Can you guys just start doing replicas, man? I'll pay $500-$600 for your belt. Why we gotta do a $1,200 belt? You know what I mean? Then you see in the trio belts for like $1,300. What are we doing? Like, can we just do replicas for like $500-$600? Like, there's no reason to spend that much money on belts, man. Like, damn. Like it is a money grab. If you lower its quantity, like you're gonna start selling a lot of them. But yeah, so I had that, I had that down. I was like, okay, new belt, all right. And then last week, he says I want a coffin match. And I'm like, oh no, okay, new belt. Now he wants to do it Darby style. Now he wants to be in Darby's match, the coffin match. And I'm like, man, I don't know, man. I don't know. Not all the faces can walk out of can't walk out of All In with the belt, man. I had Darby Allin, but I'm gonna switch my pick. I'm saying it right now. Jack Perry retains that TNT championship at AEW All In. Goes on a little bit more of a run with that belt, especially too if the EVPs lose their tag titles. They're going to want to keep some kind of gold inside the Elite. And obviously Perry holding on to the TNT belt definitely does the trick with that. So Jack Perry walking away, retaining the belt at All In. Let's go over this. Transfer. Transition. Beauty of doing a live show. Transition over to the women's for the TBS women's title. We have Mercedes Moné and Britt Baker, DMD, going for the TBS title. This rivalry is awesome. Very personal. I think DMD killed her on the mic this past week. Talking about the, 1 of 4, I'm 1 of 1. Like you crawled so I can walk, you walked so I could run, and I ran so much I started up my own promotion as being the top woman here, and that was definitely a shot to Mercedes. That was good. That was definitely a good comeback to everything Mercedes said about being all in since she was 10. So that rivalry is going great. But I have Britt Baker here. I think Baker has been gone for a long time. Obviously, very sick. Good to see her back, looking good in the ring. Mercedes, obviously, you want to have her champion. She's one of your main, aside from Britt, and obviously aside from Tony being your women's champion. You want a strong mid card woman to be holding that TBS title, just like Jay did for the longest time. But Britt, obviously, it's DMD, man. Like you put that strap on Britt Baker, and I mean the crowds are popping when she comes out. There's a lot of like 3 letters here. You got CEO, TBS, DBD, DMD, all that stuff. AEW. Yeah, and the thing is too with her losing that, she gives it up to Britt. Obviously, I'm sure there's gonna be a call for a rematch. Probably somewhere on TV. I don't know if we're waiting all the way. What are we in almost September? I don't know if we're waiting all that with full gear, but maybe one of those TV pay-per-views that they do, something like that. Maybe fight for the Fallen. Maybe I know that they do a lot of those. Do one of those around August, end of September, middle of October. So she chases that, but more importantly, though, what's the next step for Mercedes? Right. Britt wins that title. Now she's got to start running the gauntlet of all the women who want a piece back at either new people or old people, right? That want a shot that Britt. Britt's been gone for a long time. We want to see some rivalries. We want to see some wrestling, right? And she's a fighting champion. I guarantee you Britt's going to be out there every other week defending that title. But what's the next step for Mercedes, right? Mercedes, I mean, obviously your end game, right, is to transition her into the AEW women's title picture. You eventually the end game, you want her holding your women's title. Mercedes as the women's champion. I mean, I'm sure in their heads is money, which it will be because Mercedes is a great wrestler. I think her mic work has gotten a lot better. Apparently, better than mine. Has gotten a lot better in AEW. I think she's more focused when she does these promos. When she first came out, it was a lot still WWE kind of stuff. I felt like I was watching Sasha Banks. But she's coming into her own, I think, focusing less on the glitz, the glamour, the hair, what she's wearing, and kind of more focusing on her character and her talking and just overall building the storyline for whatever she's doing and whoever she's facing. So with that being said, Britt Baker walks away your new TBS Women's Champion. So let's stay mid-card, but let's go back over to the men's. We have the AEW American title. This match is one of 2. They're going to blow the house up and burn it down, baby. MJF, Will Ospreay for the AEW American title. This has gotten so personal. This past promo that was cut on the Go Home show to All In, MJF hit him where it hurt, hit him with the wife, hit him with the kid, brought up, oh man, brought up Ospreay's, the fact that it's not his kid and he's raising the kid, just being a stand-up dude. And oh man, Ospreay obviously bringing up how MJF sold out and he's no longer entertaining. He's all about the money. He should have went to WWE, all that stuff. Like, it's good. And this match is going to be awesome. Those two guys can go. Ospreay, great in the ring, can go as long as the day is long. MJF, what more can you say about MJF? The guy is outstanding in the ring. And the first match was a timed match, so they only had a certain amount of time to go. This match is going to go for a lot longer and just keep going and going and going. They like to have a lot of sponsors. Sponsors this with the Energizer Bunny, man. I'm telling you, this match is going to be a lot of false finishes. Definitely going to see the Tiger driver obviously hit somewhere on MJF. But we'll see what happens. But I'm going to give you the bold pick here. And a lot of people are going to get mad about it. Again, hit me up in the comments. Let me know what you think. MJF walks out of here as your American champion. Because listen, man, there's no way MJF came back to hold this belt for a little bit in the way that he did in that match. Just the final seconds to win that, just to give it back up to Ospreay in his home crowd at All In at Wembley. No, man. No way. And plus, too, again, you have to look at the long scheme of things. When I make these picks, I'm not picking with my heart and like, I really like MJF. Listen, I'm a huge fan of MJF. I'll be seeing you in November, MJF. Listen, Max, I'll be seeing you in a couple months. But excuse me. He loses that belt. What's next? What's next for MJF? I think it's way too soon right now for him to interject himself into the main title picture. Swerve is just getting warmed up. We're going to have Hangman winning. Now, again, we might push that down the road a little bit. Obviously, he has Danielson at All In. There's a lot of it. Samoa Joe, I don't think, is done. At least challenging. Is it another run? Does Swerve give it up to him? I don't know. But MJF just can't lose that belt and just start going for mid-card titles. What's next? He's going to go after the international title? You know what I mean? Like, then we go back to the Continental. You know what I mean? What are we going to do? We're going to win tag team belts? Doesn't make any sense. And MJF has done so, again, turning a belt into almost like making a U.S. title in AEW. You just did that for what, a month? No way, man. No way. I'm surprised that belt is not for sale yet. Some kind of replica selling. That belt looks amazing. I loved it. I love the United States Championship over at WWE. I love the American title at AEW, man. Yeah. No way MJF loses and takes that pin. Whether it's some nefarious, whether the ring's involved, whether somebody else gets involved, some kind of nefarious tactics, MJF walks out of All In at Wembley, still your American champion. So with that being said, we got two big ones left, right? Let's start with the AEW women's title match. This is going to be ugly. Timeless Toni Storm taking on Mariah May, the winner, which we called, of the Owen Hart tournament for the women's bracket. Mariah May winning. And she's going to keep winning. Mariah May's beaten Toni Storm on Sunday. And again, let me explain. Why not? We have to. We've been talking about Mariah May being a champion for months. We've obviously come to this point in time. Tony's done an amazing job as being a women's champion for AEW. But listen, the time to pass that torch is now. And it's the one time where you don't have a face taking it off the heel. It's the vice versa. The heel is going to take it off of Tony, and Tony can run it back. They can have another match, or Tony can go do something else. Maybe Tony, goes down for the TBS title, interjects herself somewhere there. Maybe she gets with someone and maybe introduce the women's tag titles, whatever they want to do, right? But this match, I think, is going to have a lot of moving parts to whoever does win, though. I don't think it's going to be an open and shut kind of thing. Does Luther get involved? Jamie Hayter, she's due back, right? She's cleared. Could she get involved? Sky Blue, think she's on the men. She might want to be in. Or does Myrna get involved? Right? Or does Mira get involved? Who does she have a horse in the race? She can't just be down the middle and be like, oh, I want you both to win. She's got to help somebody. Maybe she gets involved. I don't think this is going to be a down the line kind of thing. There's a lot of moving parts into it. But at the end of the day, when the 1, 2, 3 gets counted and there's a winner and a hand raised, it's going to be Mariah May starting a new women's title run. And Tony obviously still comes out smelling like a rose. They probably run it back once or twice with her. Maybe we do a cage match so there's no interference, stuff like that. You got to think how Tony's going to do this and make it interesting. And I think we can do that with those two ladies. So all that being said, everything else, the smoke's cleared. It's time. It's time for the main event, baby. The main course, the cherry on top, the frosting on the cake. The AEW World Heavyweight Championship is on the line in such a way that it's title versus career. Swerve Strickland, Bryan Danielson for the strap. Swerve wins. Bryan Danielson never wrestles again. And obviously, Daniel Bryan wins. Bryan Danielson, I apologize, is obviously your new AEW World Champion. All right. Let me get this out of the way. Swerve Strickland retains. There's no way he doesn't win. And I'm going to tell you why, because that's what we're doing. I don't think that's the way that Bryan Danielson wants to go out. You see it a lot of times, mostly in WWE. I don't think they've done it yet in AEW. But yeah, it's been a lot of WWE, actually. You do these retirement matches. Let's say Bryan wins, right? Comes out the next Wednesday, retires the belt or vacates it, even though he won. It was great for him to go out on top. Does Bryan Danielson really need to go out on top? No. The man has such a illustrious career. WWE, AEW, Ring of Honor, New Japan, the Indies, you name it, he's won a belt there. The American Dragon has been everywhere, done it all, seen it all, and beaten all the good ones. He's the true GOAT. Goat amongst goats. And you're telling me he's going to need to go out and win at the main event of All In, Wembley? No, that's not what we're doing this. What we're doing is we're doing this for the ultimate rub to Swerve Strickland. Now, before we get there, let me go back to the other side of this, talking about Swerve Strickland. I think this is a very great opportunity for Tony Khan, and I'm hoping this is where we go. Come with me on my journey. Let me talk about it real quick. All right. Swerve's doing everything he can. Hits a couple house calls. Doing all he can. Prince Nana's getting involved. All this shit. Right? Can't do anything. Bryan Danielson's kicking out. Now Bryan Danielson's going on the offensive, hitting him with everything he has. Swerve's just hanging out, barely kicking out. Swerve knows that at no cost can he lose this belt. Screw the career. He cannot not be AEW World Champion when that bell rings. Whoever gets the 1, 2, 3, it needs to be Swerve. I think we all forgotten with Swerve being champion and being over and being kind of a face now. The man used to be a mogul, right? He used to be dirty, a heel, win at all costs, right? He always has a backup plan. Now, Swerve has been a lot of companies, transcends in the business. There was a lot of people. Used to have an embassy. Who's to say that by the end of All In, we see a syndicate, a Hurt syndicate? Swerve always has a backup plan. Has done it against everybody. This backup plan involves Powerhouse Hobbs, Bobby Lashley, and MVP. When all else fails, when all is said and done, some way, shape, and form that rep's getting knocked out. In some way, shape, or form, those two gents are going to come down and put a hurting on Bryan Danielson. Led down by MVP. What better way to do it? What better way to give Swerve the ultimate heel rub on the biggest stage for AEW at Wembley, with probably one of their highest buy rates other than Revolution? The Hurt Syndicate comes down. Now these guys, they probably beat the hell out of Prince Nana too. He's out of here. He's done, right? Swerve turns around. Then you can just see the next Wednesday, right? Let's go real quick. Let's talk about the next Wednesday on Dynamite. Let's talk about what happens Wednesday. Swerve comes out. probably not at Who's House, probably some new like banger music, some Hurt Syndicate music, some like hybrid Lashley MVP stuff, right? Comes down to the ring, looks at everybody. Y'all may be soft. I forgot who I was. I was here for you guys. I'm here for me. And now I got friends to make sure I keep this belt. And then Swerve takes the full 180 back to go into a heel. He's been over for a while. That house call that he hit Bryan Danielson with 2 weeks ago, that was the piece. The place went nuts, booing the hell out of that man when he hit that. And that was your little taste. That was the taste of it. Well, they went in the back and Swerve was like, yeah, let's keep doing more of that. The man's a natural heel. He loves when people hate him. And I feel like a lot of people love to hate him. He's amazing. You think he's good now? Is this face kind of quasi over? Some people still don't like him. Like, is he really a good guy? But he's obviously a good guy. He's one of the most popular wrestlers on the roster right now. Turn him heel. Woo! Woo! And you got MVP now. Now you have a mouthpiece. And you got Lashley. And you got Hobbs. Oh! Eventually, obviously, give it probably like Revolution or a little after. The group implodes. I'm sure maybe all three of them go on and win the trios titles, and maybe Lashley and Hobbs go win tag belts, and they do a Freebird kind of rule, and all of them defend it. You can do a lot of things bringing in the Hurt Syndicate on Sunday. A lot of things. A lot of different moving parts you can use with that team. And MVP is always your wild card. Amazing on the mic. And I think, again, in a new environment with a lot newer wrestlers and a lot more freedom on that mic, ooh, dangerous stuff. Scary hours, baby. Scary hours. I'm telling you. So with that being said, I have Swerve Strickland walking out of AEW All In, your AEW World Champion. But I think it's exactly the way Bryan Danielson wants to go out. Standing in that ring, probably 15 minutes, right? Probably after the show goes off the air. Just getting a standing O from that entire crowd in Wembley, right? Doing it big. Then we do the scrum, which is 2 hours later, and that's 3 hours. He comes out, sits next to Tony Khan. He's able to give Tony his flowers. Thank you for bringing me into AEW. Thank you for letting me live out the rest of my career and the rest of my dreams. Had a great run with the Blackpool Combat Club. Was able to be face there, turn heel in the club, in the BCC, then kind of go to back to his American Dragon persona, right? So that was cool, and kind of just run the gamut everything he wanted to do before he retired. I think it's the ultimate rub for Swerve at the end of the day. And the thing I'll tell you is I said the same thing about King of the Ring for WWE. There's no way that I didn't think that there's no way that two of the women that win the queen that one, it's very rare to see, I apologize, two people win out of a male and female bracket and work their way down and win the championships when given, right? It obviously happened at SummerSlam. The men's and the women's winner won their belts respectfully. I don't think that happens here. I don't think you see Mariah May and Bryan Danielson win the belts. It's very rare you see that. You see one of them win, the other one not win. So I was trying to get out of all of that is that it's very rare to see that the winners of both brackets will win their respective title matches. But I think this is the way Bryan Danielson wants to go out. You've seen it done a lot of times in WWE the wrong way. They win and then retire the next night on in front of a network television. You got your biggest buy rate right now, second biggest, one of the biggest crowds you're ever going to see, right, at Wembley. What a way to go out and get that standing O, get those cheers, and just kind of take it all in, and know that you've done everything you can. Go to the front row, hug Bree, hug the kids, all that good stuff. But yeah, that's the way I see that going down. So that's pretty much it, guys. I think the pay-per-view, regardless if I go 9-0 or if I go 1-8, I think this is going to be an amazing pay-per-view. If there's one thing Tony Khan does do well is he puts on really, really good pay-per-views for the most part. Obviously, we'll be doing a live reaction show probably during the scrum. Last time we tried to wait for the scrum to be over, it was almost 2 o'clock in the morning. But listen, Daddy's got to sleep, man. I got kids. You know what I'm saying? I can't be up that late. So with that being said, one more time, I just want to plug that we have the Soraya signed 8x10 JSA certified signed. Best way you can win this. Don't want to cover my face. Best way you can win this, you got to go to X, follow us at Chairshot Sports on Twitter. Just give us a follow, and then you can go ahead and follow the rules. It's the first pinned tweet there. As soon as you find us, follow the rules to get into that. We're going to be drawing the winner sometime before the main event on Sunday of All In. So if you guys are watching this on YouTube, if you're not already subscribed, please shoot us a subscribe, shoot us a like, hit that bell. Weekly shows, prediction shows, roundtable discussions of discussions of reactions and post-show stuff. Everything in between. A lot of wrestling interviews coming up. 2024 has been great for us. 2025 has a lot of great things planned. It's going to be even bigger than 2024 was. So definitely subscribe, get on board for that. Hit me up in the comments if you have any questions, want to be a part of the show, want us to answer anything online. Shoot us an email. It's chairshotsports@gmail.com. If you're not already, join the 16,000 strong that are already on Twitter following us, and also over on Instagram and Facebook as well at Chairshot Sports. So again, guys, I'm John Anthony. This has been a Driving at Top Productions. I appreciate you guys and enjoy all